Hello everyone, this is Nitin Kulkarni. In the last video, we set up Eclipse along with some useful plugins. We made sure Eclipse and Git are connected and our TestNG and Selenium plugins are downloaded. In this video, we'll start setting up our AWS environment starting with Jenkins and Ansible. Let us start by creating a free AWS account. So open your browser in the Google search engine, type AWS free tier and click on the link over here. Once the link launches, click on the create a free account button and then follow the steps from that point on and create your free account. In my case, I already have an AWS account and therefore I'm just going to log into the AWS console. Okay, I am logged in and to create our AWS instances, I'm going to have to click on EC2 service over here. You can find the services from here. So I can click EC2 right from here and start my instance creation process. Right now I have 0 instances. I can start my EC2 instance creation process from here by clicking on the launch instance button. Let's do that. And what I'm going to do is I want to use a CentOS as my operating system. CentOS is not available in Amazon machine image format here on the default screen. So I'm going to click on the AWS Marketplace, and that's where I'm going to start by searching on CentOS. This CentOS instance is free tier eligible, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to select this as my preferred instance. Click continue. Again, I will make sure that I'm selecting an instance that is free tier eligible. So I have selected that already. I'm going to click next. I'm going to leave everything as is. Click next. Nothing to change here also. Click add tags. Click security configuration. Here, what I want to do is I want to add a rule saying that I want to allow for all traffic to my instance from anywhere. Generally, this is not a recommended process. You want to control and make sure that you have full control on who is allowed to access your instance and from where. But in our case, this is a demo project. Therefore, we are going to let any traffic come from anywhere and connect to my instance. So review and launch, and then click launch. Okay, here is in your case, it's probably going to ask you whether you want to choose an existing key pair or select or create a new key pair. A key pair is how Amazon will authenticate you to the instance. Therefore, you need to create you need to create a key pair if you don't already have one. So let's make sure that we create a key if needed. In this case, I already have created a key pair, so I'm going to most probably use that. But here is an option where you can specify that you want to create a new key pair. So I can give my key pair name and download the key pair, and we'll see how to use that key pair to connect to our instance in a few minutes. But right now, I'm just going to choose an existing key pair, which I already have. So I'm going to check this acknowledgement and then launch instance. So my instance is now ready. I can click on view instances and go to my instance dashboard, and I should see my instance coming up right over here. Okay, my instance is now up. As you can see, it is in the running state. And the important things to note here is the public IP address and the private IP address. And as we go through the session, we'll see how to use these IP addresses to communicate with our instance as well as the communication between instances that we will be creating from this point on. I also like to give my instance a name. So I'm going to call it my Jenkins server. So now my instance is fully ready and I should be able to now install Jenkins on my AWS instance. To connect to my freshly minted AWS instance, there are multiple ways. The two most popular ways are through either PuTTY or there is another application called as the MobaXterm, and that's what I like. So what you can do is you can search for MobaXterm on Google, click on the link over here, and download the software from here. In my case, the MobaXterm application is already downloaded, so that's what I'm going to use for the purposes of our demo. Once you install the software, launch the software on your local machine. It should bring up a UI from where you can start configuring your sessions. So the first thing that you will do is you will click on the session tab over here or the button over here, and then click on the SSH option. Here is where you need to specify the IP address of the AWS instance, which I will get from my AWS console. So I'm going to copy my public IP address from here, paste it over here. I'm going to specify username. By default, a CentOS instance comes with a CentOS as the username. And then in the advanced SSH settings is where I will specify the key that I downloaded when I created the instance. So I'm going to click on the use private key option over here. Select my key from the folder where I might have downloaded it, click open, and then I'm going to name my instance as the Jenkins server. And once I do that, my MobaXterm should now connect to the Jenkins server. All right, so I am now logged into the MobaXterm through MobaXterm to my AWS instance where I want to install my Jenkins. Let's start the installation process for Jenkins now. Okay, now that I have logged into my AWS instance, here is what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to create a non-root user. And the reason for doing that is generally it is recommended that you do not want to perform operations on your instance as a root user. You should be performing your operations as a non-root user. That's what we'll do first. After that, I'm going to install Java and then set Java home. I'm going to install Git on this machine and then install Maven. Maven could also be installed through Jenkins console once we install Jenkins, but I prefer the option where I'm installing Maven myself on this instance. And then finally, we'll install Jenkins, start Jenkins, and then configure Jenkins for our usage. So let's start by creating a non-root user. So I'm going to say, I'm going to switch to root first, and then I'm going to say user add, and I'm going to call my admin jadmin or user as jadmin. Directory already exists. All right, so then I'm going to say password. So password, whatever I want. So what happened now is you should not be seeing all these messages in normal circumstances, but when I was testing this, I must have created a admin user. So there are some remnants of that user already there. So you should not have seen these warnings and all these messages that you saw. It should be a straightforward user add for you. But the process is more or less the same. At the end of the day, I created a user called as jadmin with a password that I specified. So now I'm going to switch to that user. Sorry, before I do that, there is another important thing that we need to do. There are a lot of commands that we're going to need to run as a root user. But we want our admin user to assume root role for those specific commands. So in order for us to be able to do that, I have to update a file on this instance and make some updates to that specific file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do make sure that I'm currently root, and then I'm going to type this command, which is vi sudo. So once I do that, it's going to open a sudoers file. It is called as sudoers file, and then I'm going to just click scroll through this file until I reach the allow root to run any commands anywhere section. So this specific section is what I'm looking for. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my user here. So I'm going to say jadmin and then say all equal to all, and then no, sorry, no password colon all. So what this does is this lets your JAdmin user assume the sudoers role, and you can then let JAdmin operate as a root user whenever and as and when needed. There are other ways of doing this also. You can add this user to the wheel group, and probably you will see somewhere here. I believe it is somewhere here where you can specify that, where you can specify the privileges of the wheel group. Let's see, yeah, right here. So here what you can say is that here what it is saying is that the wheel group has all the same privileges. So um, if I so another alternative to this option is to add the jadmin user to the wheel group, but for this case I'm just going to stick to what we have done. It is important that all the spaces and everything is maintained. So I need to make sure that there is a space here, and I also forgot an equals to sign in between. So this will, as I said, will let your JAdmin assume the sudoers role as and when needed. So now let's save this file. Okay, so now we are ready to switch to this user. So switch user JAdmin. So now I'm now assuming the role of a JAdmin, and now let's try to install Java. To install Java on CentOS machines, you can use the yum package. So generally the command is yum. Sorry, before I do that, I should be using the sudo command here, assuming the role of a root user. Sudo yum install java hyphen 1.8 star. So Java is now getting installed on my machine. Let's give it a few seconds. Okay, Java is now installed, and now let's add the Java home to my path. To test my Java version, I'm just going to issue the command java version, and you should see the version 8.1.8 downloaded and installed on my machine. So now it's time to set up the Java home. So I'm going to go to sudo vi/etc/profile, and then here I'm going to scroll down. Oh, sorry, I already passed that point, so I should be here, and then specify what my Java home is. And then export the path. Okay. So now this is how I'll set up my Java home. So user lib JVM is where my Java is located. So I'm going to save this file. So now my path is now set, and I should be able to use my Java whenever needed. The Before I do anything further, I'm going to have to execute this change. So I'm going to say source slash etc slash profile, which will now put the change that I just did into action. So now my path is now really effective and active, and my Java is available to any application that I install on this machine. The next step is to now install Git. So again, the command is, let's clear the screen first. Command is very simple, yum install git. And I'm going to specify a -y option here so it doesn't stop in the process asking me for any confirmation. So I'm going to start the process now. Oh, sorry, again, to perform yum, I have to be a sudo. So that is the reason why we added this jadmin as in the sudoers file so that it can assume the sudo role or root role as and when needed. So let's start this process. It's a very quick process, should be done within a few seconds. All right, so my Git is now installed. So now it's time to install Maven. So again, the command is the same. I mean, the format is the same. Instead of Git, I'll just say Maven. Okay, my Maven is also now installed, and now it is time to install Jenkins. So there are a few commands that you need to run before you install Jenkins. So to get to those commands, I'm going to go back to my Google and say install Jenkins. And then installing Jenkins, click on this installing Jenkins link. Sorry, went to the wrong link. This is the link that I wanted to go to. So Jenkins installation and setup. So click on this link, scroll down, find the instance that you are installing this Jenkins on. So in this case, it is CentOS. So I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to run the following commands. So it says, and it's just a copy paste. So I'm going to take this, copy it, go back to my MobiXterm, and then paste it, and then run it. Okay, so generally this is what your experience will also be. It says sudo wget command not found, so how to install sudo. I'm sorry, I'm going to install wget. So sudo install wget. Yes, that's it. So that now the previous command that I run should work. So it's done. Now let's go back to our Google, run the second command. What this is doing is this is downloading the packages that we need to install Jenkins on my local machine or on this instance. So I'm going to do this now. It is also done. Now it is time to install Jenkins. So I'm going to say yum install Jenkins -y. It will start the process. Again, I forgot to specify that sudo part of the command. It's downloading packages. Let's give it a second or two. Okay, my Jenkins installation is now complete, and now I should be able to run my Jenkins. So to be able to run my Jenkins, I'm going to say systemctl start Jenkins. Sorry, should be saying sudo. Generally, all these commands need to be sudo, so make sure that you are typing the command sudo before your actual real command. So now my Jenkins is started. How do I know it has started? I'm going to say sudo status Jenkins. Now it is saying here it is active and running. So now let's log into our browser and see whether it is really running or not. By by default, Jenkins runs on port 8080. So let's now confirm whether or not Jenkins is installed properly and is running successfully or not. So let's switch to our Google. Go back to our AWS instance, copy the IP address from here, and then say colon 8080. Yep. So this will always be the first screen that it will that will present you, and it is asking you to specify the password, the initial admin password. The initial admin password, as it says here, is located right over here. So you go to copy this path from here, go back to your mobixterm, and switch to that directory. Oh, sorry, that's a file. So I'm going to switch to my secrets directory, and then I'm going to say sudo cat. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so now I'm going to. Okay, what happened? What I did is this file did not have permission to anyone except the root, and therefore I had to switch to root to get to this file. So I'm going to now cat the initial password. So this is the initial password. I'm going to copy this from here, go back to my browser, paste it, and then continue. Um, so install, it's up to you what you want to do, but generally I prefer the option of installing the suggested plugins. So that's what we'll do in this case. So I'm going to click on this. It's going to give me the list of all the plugins, and it's going to start installation. It might take a minute or two to do. Okay, now it's time to create the admin user. So let's do that. So I'm going to specify the username as admin. I can specify whatever password I want. And then I'm going to specify this as the admin again, and then just some fake email. Save and continue. Now just click save and finish and go on to the next step. So now my Jenkins setup is ready. I should be able to now start using Jenkins and to start creating my pipeline. So this is how the Jenkins default page will look. We look at some of the options here. We'll explore Jenkins in quite a bit of detail as we start setting up our jobs. So I'm logged in as admin over here, and then I have this login, this displays from where I can start creating my jobs. So with this, my Jenkins setup is now complete. And in the next video, we'll start installing Ansible on another VM. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.